I would like to welcome everyone to Choose Love Canada Day. I am your host, Tanya Levy. I reside in Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, Canada. And this evening we're expecting a snowstorm, so much so that I've learned that our campus is already closed for tomorrow. So not a snowstorm, a windstorm, because nothing slows down Cape Breton like wind. Tonight we are celebrating the advocacy work of two incredible organizations. The Canadian Association of BioEnergetic Wellness, otherwise known as CanBeWell, which has been providing special education for youth this past year with their Youth Self-Care Awareness Project, which you can see on the screen, and the Jessie Lewis Choose Love movement. Tonight you will hear from the Choose Love ambassadors from Canada as they share tips and tools before the holidays that will support well-being practices for every day. With youth in mind, you will see some of the fun in children's games so we can all have a lot of fun, as Jessie Lewis left in a message to his older brother the day of the Newtown, Connecticut tragedy that took Jesse's life. We honor his memory today. Rhonda, if you could just mute your mic, that would be great. Thank you. We honor his memory today and the initiatives, and welcome. We honor his memory today and the initiatives of the Choose Love movement to ensure that the ingredients for the tragedy are not repeated and that as many children and families as possible are helped by choosing love. Thank you for choosing love and for joining us. Rhonda, if you could just turn your video off just because we're recording, and we welcome you. Thank you. So our theme for 2021 was Wellness is Your Choice. Tonight, we would like to recognize our presenters who donated their time this past year to fulfill the Youth Self-Care Awareness Project. In March, we had Nithya Parani Jahara from India and a CanBeWell member present a webinar on reaching youth with bioenergetic wellness tools. Nithya is a counselor and Touch for Health instructor in India with a focus on teens, post-secondary students, and young families. She is currently finished her doctorate in integrative health with Academy University. She also supported us with an article about bioenergetic wellness tools for new mothers for our CanBeWell member newsletter. 4 CanBeWell members who were working on the presentation committee brought their collective skills together to produce some support for people with bioenergetic wellness tools. It started with a tips and tools book called BioEnergetic Essentials, and it is free on both the CanBeWell and the Choose Love movement site. You can purchase a hard copy of the book from the shop at Choose Love. This was co-written by myself, Tanya Levy, Paula Nowak-Drug, Natasha Polomsky, and Michelle Greenwell. Paula, Michelle, and I went on to create a card deck full of games and activities for children and adults using bioenergetic wellness tools. And you can see that card deck here. It's called It's in the Cards. The Choose Love formula and 5-element theory from traditional Chinese medicine. A tea blend and another card deck were also produced at this time to support a full wellness package because self-care is so much a part of wellness as well. You can see the videos of the launches on CanBeWell's YouTube channel. You will see more of us as we present some ideas tonight. We're so glad you're all here. Intention, inspiration, fa la 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 la. Welcome, Kevin. I just want to let you know we're recording. So during the talking, we've muted our video and our sound. So there's lots of us here. I'm just letting you know that, and welcome. Jill Hewlett was our presenter in August with Brain Fitness, and she also supported us with an additional games and activities in a blog post that you can find on canbewell.org. Her presentation highlights the power of the brain and how we can inspire the richness that it contains. You can find her presentation on our YouTube channel. There have been many other presentations this year to support further well-being practices. Please be sure to check them out as well as our blog posts. At the Choose Love Foundation YouTube channel, you will find more recordings of presentations that our Canadian Ambassador team created as well. These resources are at your fingertips. I'd just like to take a moment and give gratitude to those who have supported outreach and advocacy, to rejoice in the power of our growing community that chooses love every day, to inspire peace and joy for the holiday season, and to bring the gifts of 2022 forward. And so I invite you to take a deep breath as we hold these intentions in our heart. Crush your right hand over your left. Place them on your heart. Crush your right foot over your left. And as I repeat our intentions for tonight, I invite you to breathe deeply and imagine the possibilities that the Choose Love ambassadors can create around the world and the advocacy work of our two organizations. In gratitude to those who have supported outreach and advocacy, to rejoice in the power of community, to inspire peace and joy for the holiday season, to bring the gifts of 2022 forward. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. As I finish these words, put your fingertips together and your feet side by side. And together, we will lead the way for others to be inspired and to choose love. So we will begin this evening with a presentation from Paula Nowak-Droog. Paula is an educator, well-being coach, and body and mind facilitator. Paula offers stress strategies and well-being experiential workshops and courses, and having participated in them, I can vouch for their stress-free benefits. She incorporates movement, touch for health, Eden method, acupressure, and brain gym techniques to cultivate well-being and wellness. Paula is passionate about leading others to navigate stress and reclaim joy. For more information, you can visit Paula at Linktree / learning infinite possibilities. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you so much, Tanya, and welcome to everyone tonight. So I'd like to begin by first placing one hand on our heart center, on our sternum, and our other hand below our navel. So this is the sea of energy and the sea of vitality. Sorry, the sea of tranquility. So I invite you for a moment to soften your gaze or close your eyes and come into this present moment in time. And awareness is the foundation of well-being, and it's the foundation for cultivating our inner compassion, our self-compassion. And as you soften your gaze, coming into this present moment, turning our attention inwards, and we'll begin by resting in the breath, in this present moment of awareness, and noticing body sensations. And are you breathing with effort or ease? Is your body tense or relaxed? And tuning into your energy, are you wired, tired, or rested and relaxed? Noticing with curiosity and compassion. And noticing your stress level, 1 being low stress, 10 being high stress. Where are you on the stress scale right now? And on a self-compassion continuum, are you experiencing a wee bit of self-compassion or abundant self-compassion? Where are you right now on that continuum? And continuing to focus on the breath. Allowing the breath to flow in and out, perhaps deepening the breath down into the belly. And I invite you to set a personal goal or a personal intention tonight for your self-compassion for tonight and perhaps for the week ahead. A goal, an intention to nourish and nurture you, nurturing your inner compassion and nurturing your inner well-being. And I invite you now to take your hands in front and just a very softly and gently rubbing your hands together. We're going to experience a beautiful calming technique for your nervous system. So gently rubbing your hands together and placing your hands over your eyes. So the heel of your hand on your cheekbones, your fingertips are lightly on your forehead, and your thumbs are at your temple. And if you find that it's hard having your eyes covered, you can have your eyes peeking out a little bit. And just breathing in and breathing out. I am breathing in and I am breathing out as I'm holding my hands lightly. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. And sliding your fingertips over to your temples, your thumb behind your ears, and lightly holding your face. Perhaps keeping your eyes closed or soften your gaze. I am breathing in compassion, and I am breathing out compassion. I am breathing in compassion, and I am breathing out compassion. And sliding your hands above your ears, having your fingertips touch at the top of your head, and holding your hands lightly, nurturing and nourishing your well-being. I breathe in inner compassion. I breathe out outer compassion. Breathing inner compassion. Breathing out outer compassion. And sliding your hands behind your head, holding lightly on the back of your head, cradling your head. I receive inner compassion and I offer outer compassion. I receive inner compassion. I offer outer compassion. Sliding your hands down to your shoulders. I choose inner compassion. I dwell in inner compassion. I choose inner compassion. I dwell in outer compassion and inner compassion. Sliding your hands down to your heart center. The sea of tranquility, the place of knowing in your heart center. I'm breathing in compassion. I am breathing out compassion. I am compassion in action. And I invite you to take your hands again, and we're going to rub them together very gently and lightly together. So in front of your heart center, lightly rubbing your hands together. And I invite you to place one hand just below your collarbone on the sternum, your other hand underneath it in the center of your sternum. And we're holding two beautiful areas that create calm well-being, that cultivate inner ease, outer harmony, that ease stress. And we'll notice that reflected in our heart rhythms. So I invite you again to soften your gaze or close your eyes and draw your focus to your heart area, to your heart center, focusing on the wisdom of your heart in this moment. And imagine the breath flowing in and out of your heart. The breath flowing with ease, allowing the respiration and the heart rhythms to synchronize. Focusing on your heart, focusing on breathing into your heart and out of your heart. And as you continue to focus on your heart, I invite you to recall an experience of a joyful heart memory, or perhaps a feeling of compassion, gratitude, love, or joy. So taking a few moments to cultivate a memory or a feeling of compassion, love, gratitude, or joy, entering in and out of our heart space. Continuing to allow that memory to be focused into your heart space, your memory or your feeling of compassion, gratitude, joy, or love. And when we take the opportunity to focus our attention, to calm our nervous system, we have the opportunity to reshape our brain, to bring calmness and connection into our being. And I invite you to, again, just focus on the breath. And perhaps add a little wiggle and jiggle to your fingers and to your toes. And I invite you to come back into this space and just notice, how are you feeling now? What does your inner compassion feel like right now? Noticing your stress levels, noticing your tension, awareness of the breath. And know that you can come back to this at any time to bring calmness to your body and mind. And thanks so much for joining me, and I'm going to pass it back to Tanya.
Thank you very much, Paula. So now I would like to introduce the lovely Connie.
Thank you, Tanya.
Connie works for the Montreal School Board in preschool education. She has been an avid supporter of the Choose Love movement and is looking forward to her training as an ambassador next month. Her passion for working with children can be seen in her presentation today. Welcome, Connie.
Thank you so much. And thank you very much, Paula. That was a fabulous way to get this all started. So tonight I'm just going to be sharing with you what gratitude means to me when I think of the word gratitude, and what and how we can share it with our children, inspired by this Choose Love movement. So I'm going to share my screen. One second. So here I've broken down gratitude and what it means to me and how we can practice it daily for ourselves, how we can show up with gratitude, and how we can teach our children to do the same. So after every slide, I just want you to have a little meditation thought in how you can do this for yourselves daily. And in turn, teaching our children, if you're a parent, if you're an educator, if you're an administrator, a psychologist, or in how we can teach our children these valuable life lessons with gratitude. So when we think about gratitude, I think about grace. How can we show ourselves kindness, compassion, and love? We deserve it. And teaching our kids to do the same. So often we teach our children and ourselves as well growing up that it's so important to be kind to others and to show others compassion and love. And above all, the first person we need to love is ourselves. In order for us to show up with grace for others, we have to show that for ourselves. So the G for me means grace. The R in gratitude for myself is rest. And when we talk about rest here, again, for ourselves and our children, I'm not just talking about physical rest, but I'm talking about spiritual rest. The rest in that taking time for silence and solitude, to be still and having faith in God, the universe, source, whatever it is you call it for yourselves, and have that faith of taking rest when you are maybe stressed or anxious. Often a lot of children are anxious at this time with the return to school and in the during this pandemic era, and adults as well. How can we find that silence and solitude to bring us back to a place of revival and being refocused? So finding rest spiritually is just as important as being well rested physically. Taking time to trust that all will be well. The A in gratitude, I believe, is really important to have acceptance. You enjoy as much happiness as you believe you are worthy of, and that we have to accept ourselves in all our little imperfections, and that's what makes us us. We teach again our children to be accepting and loving of others, and how important it is as a message for them to learn that they have to accept themselves and their self-worth of who they are, and for ourselves as well to think about this every day when we go out into the workplace or are just meeting different people, to be really accepting of others, but above all, firstly, accepting ourselves. Time. I read a beautiful book called The Gift by Dr. Edith Eger, and she says that time is love is a 4-letter word, and that is T-I-M-E, and that love is really equates to self-care and self-love. Once we show ourselves care and once we take care of ourselves and we take the time to do so, only then can we really properly show up in love for others. So when we take that time for ourselves, we are showing ourselves love. And teaching our children that it is so important for the adults in their lives to have that time for themselves and to take care of themselves. And as they grow up, to watch that they can do the same. Definitely a gift that we offer ourselves is the gift of time. I in inspiration, as Paula was talking about earlier, is so important. Inspiration and enthusiasm. When we break down the word inspiration, it really means staying in spirit. And the word enthusiasm is derived from the Greek word antheos, which means in God or with God. So when we talk about inspiration, it's a big difference than motivation. What does it mean teaching ourselves and teaching our children to allow themselves to be inspired? Inspiration is when a feeling or an idea gets a hold of you and you know that that's where you have to be. Whereas when you're motivated to do something, you're going and grabbing a hold of that idea. But inspiration is really allowing yourself to be open for ideas which are not coincidental that will come to you. So allowing ourselves to be inspired on a daily basis, which this inspiration will automatically create this enthusiasm. We often call it as that spark. Allow yourselves to be inspired. Thank you. This was having and showing up with gratitude is more than just being grateful and being able to say thanks for what goes on during the day, but the most meaningful prayer you can say every day when you wake up is really putting your feet on the ground and saying thank you. And then you can start your day regardless of what denomination we are. Thank you really is the most powerful prayer we can use to start our day. And teaching our kids to do the same. Just thank you for the breath we have. Thank you for the people that surround us is really a powerful prayer. Untethered. Teaching our children how to be untethered, because the most damaging prison is in our mind and the key is in our pocket. That's another beautiful, valuable gift I learned from reading this book by Dr. Edith Eger, and allowing ourselves the freedom to be free from all negative thoughts, and teaching our children that really all the thoughts we have about ourselves really affect how our days go. So teaching them really to get out of the prison of their minds and to be free. The D in gratitude for me means Dharma, and how important it is to honor our life's purpose, our passion, and our calling. We can't forget that as adults as well. We spend so much time telling our children and our students that to dream big and think big and anything is possible. We must remind ourselves as adults that we too have a purpose and a passion and have a calling. So keeping that in mind allows us to be grateful. And the last letter, E, in gratitude for me is ego. Put our ego aside and choose love. I once read something so special that the E, G, and O means edging God out. So when we stay in a place of ego, we can't choose love. So if we set our egos aside, we can definitely choose love and hope for a better world for our kids, for ourselves, and for everybody that we touch on a daily basis. So thank you very much. I just wanted to share one last quote from a book from Wayne Dyer's Daughters. It's about gratitude, and gratitude can be the catalyst that shifts you from the desiring end of the continuum to the allowing end and ultimately receiving end of the continuum. Because when you are aligned with gratitude in the present moment, you set your desires into motion, allowing them to transpire. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Connie, for that beautiful presentation. I feel very inspired and warm inside my heart. Next, we will hear from Marie-France. Marie-France Renaud resides in Vaudreuil-Drouin, Quebec. I have a feeling I said that wrong, Canada, and is the reason the Canadian ambassadors exist. Her work in trauma situations with Mascutova neuroreflex integration, or MNRI, found her in Newtown, Connecticut after Jesse Lewis lost his life to the school shooter. Her skills in trauma situations have helped organizations manage pre- and post-crisis events and have supported prevention strategies for high-risk professionals like first responders and victims of catastrophe within the post-Hyogo 2015 framework for action. Her passion is helping babies, children, teens, adults, and wiser people to reach inner peace and their highest potential and attend beyond the neurophysiological, psychological, and sociological challenges, as well She excels in helping selectively mute and other anxiety-related neurocommunicational challenged people to express themselves, act, and interact with joy and happiness. You can find Marie France at www.echomotion.ca. Welcome, Marie.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. So tonight, I invite you all to practice a little breathing exercise that will help with the expansion of the breathing system, but in a different way, from the inside. So I'm choosing this exercise tonight because it is very powerful and it helps to regulate the breathing when we're in fight or flight and when we're into the freezing mode. So freezing mode is when the fear paralysis reflex kicks in, which is kind of a little bit like this. And we've been seeing an increase in that type of stress response, of course, with the COVID and everything that's been happening. And also with people that are more often and in front of their screens for a longer period of time, because this ergonomic response can be happening more often, which is a way to invite a freezing response to come in. So what I invite you tonight is to adapt the exercise I'm going to show you for children and invite the people, the children, or anybody you're with to visualize as we do this, the inside of the lungs expanding as if it was kind of a Christmas tree. So as if it would go in one cycle like this, and then go lower, and then all the way to the hips. And the way we're going to do this, I'm going to first explain it to you, and then I'm going to do it with you. So what we'll be doing is taking one very deep breath, and then we'll be on exhaling for a long time in 3 steps. And the thing is, when we exhale, we go to the maximum of what we think is the maximum we can exhale. We think that the lungs are empty at that point, but guess what? They're not. So we're going to expand further without breathing on the second exhale, and we're going to expand further on the third time in that same breath. Now, this is the trick. I'm going to show you the trick. Each time we're going to exhale, after 1 step, 2 steps, and then all the way down to the bottom of the lungs, we will release. How we're going to do that? Let's do a little practice without doing the exercise now. I'm just going to practice squeezing our muscles, our inner muscles. We can go all the way to our PC muscles if we want, and just release that quickly. Contract and let go. As we're going to do this, we're going to practice this with the breathing. So let me do it one time alone, and then you can observe, and then we can do it together. So this is how it goes. I'm going to take a deep breath, and then exhale. So I take a deep breath, I exhale up to my maximum, and at that point, I release. I exhale again, I release. I exhale again, I release. And if you do this with kids, you can invite them to imagine that they're expanding kind of like a Christmas tree, because that's how it feels from the inside when we do this. Are you ready? Let's do it together. So we're going to take a deep breath in and then exhale. Release, exhale, release, exhale, release. And as you do this, you're going to feel, you should be feeling the inside of your lungs going from breathing with maybe a shallow breathing to a much, much, much deeper breathing until you really are breathing inside your hips. Now, this helps for grounding yourself, and it helps to really, really calm down the nervous system. Now, we don't want to do this more than 3 times, because what it actually does, it helps to remove the CO2 that can be a heavier gas lying at the bottom of the lungs, and it helps to release that gas so that oxygen can go deeper where the oxygen change is happening at the bottom of the lungs. So if you do this too many times, 3 times would be the maximum for one type of session. You can do it several times a day if you want, but not more than 3 times, because then your body is going to think, whoa, I'm having so much oxygen right now, something's wrong. We don't want that. So we want to do it maybe twice or 3 times. Now, if you have any questions, you can reach me and we can talk about it in a further meeting. I do hope that this exercise is going to be one that you will keep and use, because it's absolutely fabulous. So it was a pleasure for me to share this, and thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
We will respond to the chat questions at the end. I see there's a few questions in the chat. We'll respond to them at the end of our presentations, but absolutely we can get you the contact information for the presenters. Next, I would like to welcome Michelle Greenwell. Michelle is from Mabou, Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, and I'm thinking it might be a bit windy there this evening, because it certainly is down here in Port Hawkesbury. She is a doctoral student at Kamei University for Integrative Health, and she specializes in movement to bring health and wellness to the body. She uses dance, Tai Chi, in Tai Chi classes where I met Michelle 14 years ago, and neuroreflex integration, as well as touch for health and therapeutic touch techniques, to name a few. You can find Michelle at linktree/dance debut for more information. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Tanya. And hello, everyone. I've been presenting lots of bioenergetic wellness tools over the last 1.5 years, and you've probably seen many of them on the YouTube channel. So what I thought I'd do today is I would take myself back to the roots and take myself back to dance a little bit, but I'm going to take all of us back in our childhood to when we were little, and I'm going to take us to hugs today. And what I realized as I was putting this information together is that a hug is really, if you take the hug language, it's really the choose love formula. And if you think about the formula and you think about hugging someone with compassion, we use that hug a lot. We also hug when we want forgiveness or when we offer forgiveness. We also give a hug for courage. Often that's kind of a side hug and you're like, okay, you know, you're the cheerleading squad. And then the last one is gratitude. And somebody's giving you a compliment or a gift or something, out comes the hug. So really, hug language is the Choose Love formula, and I want to bring it into a little exercise or dance that we can all do together. I'm going to use the music that Charlotte Diamond has created called 4 Hugs a Day. It really works well with our formula. And what I'm going to do is also combine the sign language and bring it around in a 5-element wheel, which means we're going to follow the elements. We're going to go fire, earth, metal, water, wood. And so I'm going to give you all of the examples of the movements, and then I invite you to do them with me. It's a little bit quick, but we're all here to have fun. And I want to share with you some of the tools that are hidden inside the choreography. And this is a way that you can bring healing power, calming the system down, getting the breath to shift, all just with a little bit of activity. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, let's do the sign language. So you have A-OK fingers, and you bring them around to make a hug. It goes a little bit quick in the music, so if you go hug, that'll be totally fine too. Otherwise, you've got A-OK, bring it around, and that is Choose Love. Our second one is, compassion in action. You're going to drop your middle finger a little bit, and we're going to dance it, so it's going to be back and forth like this. Now you're in your living rooms with the cameras off, so you can dance any way you like there because we all can't see you, okay? So just get into the groove of it, that'll be great. So we have Choose Love, and then what we're going to do is we're going to tap on the thymus. So this is one of the 3 thumps that we're going to do. Then we go Choose Love, and we're going to tap again, right on my microphone, which is just going to go the middle of the chest. And then this is going to be where we put compassion in action. Then we're going to go Choose Love, tap on the thymus, Choose Love, and now we're going to go to forgiveness. We tap on the side here, and then we put our left hand out, and we go to forgiveness. We're just going to slide our hand down. That's forgiveness. We have Choose Love, tap, Choose Love, tap. So that's all repetitive. Now we have courage. Courage is a bear claw hand, goes on the shoulder, and then we use a butterfly fist. So very loose, light fist, and we take that up. That's our courage. We go Choose Love, tap again, Choose Love, tap, and now we're going to go gratitude. Gratitude comes from the chin and goes out. So what we did is we just went around what's called the nurturing wheel. That is a way to calm the whole system down and just bring everything into flow and balance. Okay, when we put it with the music, we're going to bring that around. We do it 3 different sets, so you get a chance to really play with it. We also have some of the archetype movements. So that's the way that the body organizes itself in space. It's kind of like the shape of a star. So you're going to see that happen. So the first one is to make a circle with your fingers. Put it on top of your head like a crown, and you're just going to push your hands into your head. And then we're going to take our hands and put them on our tailbone, and you're just going to push into the tailbone, and it's quite quick when it's with the music, and you bring your fingers up like peace, but it actually means 4 hugs a day. Okay, so that's that little piece. Now we've tapped here, we have tapped here, those were 2 sets of thumps. The third set of thumps is over on the side. End point for spleen. So we're going to tap there, and then we're going to look it in the eye, it says. So you just take your fingers and you say, hey, I see you. And when we make a connection with someone else, that instantly changes how we feel, and it also changes the way the body is going to relax just by engaging. So this is one way we could give a hug. We tap here. Another way we could give a hug. We could go nose to nose. That's a little bit trickier in a classroom, especially if you've got masks on. So what you could do is wiggle your nose. You could point to your nose and then share with somebody else. And again, look them in the eye, make the connection. All right, so now here's the couple other ways we could do a hug if we couldn't go like this. We're going to tap on that spleen again, getting that third thump in. And this time we're going to go elbow, elbow, fist, fist. And we've been doing fist bumps with people. We've been doing elbows, any way that we can make a connection. And it's another way that we can give a hug. So we have that one is tap, elbow, elbow, fist, fist. And then the last one, we tap again, and I'm just gonna back up. You won't always see this, but I'm just gonna bring this up. I'm gonna go foot and foot. Because sometimes when we're going with our buddies, we can just like tap them under the table. We can hit them kind of sideways and kind of nudge them. We can do all of that if we can't touch hands and if we're wearing those masks. Okay, so those are the ways that we could potentially give a hug and show that we really care and make a connection with someone. All right, now from that start, we did here, we did here, but we didn't get hands and legs. So my hands are gonna go apart, doesn't matter which hand, and my feet are gonna go apart, and then I'm gonna bring them back in, and this one is just gonna be boogie. Okay, so nice and easy, and then we're gonna go open again, and bring it back in, and nice and easy. All right, now we have a couple of things to do with the hands, and this is from the hand grasping reflex, how we learn how to express ourselves in writing, but also in how we can articulate holding on to things, letting go of things. And sometimes when we're in fear, we'll grip really tight, or sometimes we push away without even looking. And so this is a way for us to just relax all of that. So I'll get you to put your hand up. So there's the 5. And what we're going to do is count backwards. We're going to go pinky, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then your thumb comes up on the end, A-OK. So you have hand starts here, and it counts to 4. So we go 4, 3, 2, 1, A-OK. All right, that's one way to use the hand. If that is too much, and for little people it might be, you can count just your regular way. 1, 2, 3, 4, here. That's another way you could do it. This one gives you a little bit different from the hand grasping reflex. Okay, and the last piece, your hands are going to go out like this. You're going to roll the fingers in like a fan. Okay, and then the thumbs are going to come together and we're going to make a heart on the end. All right, so you have roll and around. And from my Tai Chi lessons, when you do this with the fingers and roll them up, it actually changes all the way down the spine, all the muscles, little tiny muscles in there. And that sends messaging out to all the organ systems and all the muscles. So we have a way to actually turn the body on just by the way that we move our hands. Okay, so now that I've done all that, I'm going to give us some music. So this is Charlotte Diamond, Do Your Very Best. This is just an example of the ways that we can start to use the Choose Love formula in some fun activities and just share with other people. All right, so I'm just going to bring up the music. Hold on a second, because then I will be missing out what I can see. Here it comes. Okay, hopefully you can hear this.
Nobody gets enough hugs a day, 'cause the minimum number is 4. Now if you haven't got 4 hugs today, then you better get some more. 4 hugs a day, that's the minimum. 4 hugs a day, not the maximum. 4 hugs a day, that's the minimum. 4 hugs a day, not the maximum. 4 hugs a day, that's the minimum. 4 hugs a day, not the maximum. 4 hugs a day, that's the minimum. 4 hugs a day,
Gratitude.
not the maximum.
All right.
1, look them right in the eye. Step 2, nose to nose.
Elbow.
Step 3, reach your arm. Step 4, you can't do any harm with 4 hugs a day. That's the minimum. 4
This is
hugs a
compassion.
day, not the maximum. 4 hugs a day, that's the minimum. 4 hugs a day, not the maximum.
Keep going. Courage. Gratitude.
Don't forget your mama and papa, your grandma, your grandpa, and all your friends too. Brothers and sisters,
One more breathe
aunts
in.
and uncles. And don't forget
Hand
your
goes up.
teachers too. We need 1, 2, 3, and 4. We
This one's going to be gratitude. Roll your fingers. Make your heart. Elbow, elbow, nudge, nudge, foot. Look them in the eye. You got it. Give it a wink. Those are all the ways that we can have a hug that we can share with others. Hold on, I'll just stop the music. And if you remember, that's hug language, the Choose Love formula. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I couldn't stop smiling through the whole little dance. So I guess now I introduce myself. My name's Tanya Levy, and I have a Master of Social Work, and for the last 20 years, I've worked at a college as a counselor. I have a background in, as I said, social work. I'm a Canadian certified counselor. I'm also trained in therapeutic touch, touch for health. I'm an author, a digital artist, and of course, a poet, a photographer, and I love Tai Chi. And I believe that everyone has their own individual journey of learning to follow, and that you're the expert on yourself. So tonight I'd like to take you through a little exercise of gratitude that looks at right here, right now. And if you have a pen and paper, you can use that, but that's not necessary. So I'd just like you to begin by taking a couple breaths in. And I'm going to lead you through right here, right now, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what I'd like you to begin is just by noticing 5 things you can see. And those can be things that are around you in your environment, or those can be things that you see on my screen as well. And then I'd like you to focus on 4 things, or write down 4 things you can hear. And if you're in Cape Breton, the first thing you'll be able to hear right now is the howling wind. And then I'd like you to notice 3 things you can touch. And then 2 things you can smell. And 1 thing you can taste. When I work with students, I find that if they're writing a test, or they're feeling triggered, or they're having a difficult day, or even when they're trying to sleep, they can get really caught up in their minds and their challenging emotions. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 can be a way for them to ground and come back into their body. But I'd like to extend this exercise to an exercise of gratitude. So now I'd like you to do the same exercise we just did. I'm sorry, my computer's making a little dinging sound. The same exercise we just did. And as you do it, I want you to, before you notice everything, say thank you for. So begin by noticing 5 things. And so I'll just demonstrate it. Thank you for the plant. Thank you for my coffee cup. Thank you for my notes for the presentation. Thank you for the salt lamp. Thank you for my laptop. So let's just begin by saying thank you for 5 things you can see. And then thank you for 4 things you can hear. And then thank you for 3 things you can touch. And thank you for 2 things you can smell. And thank you for 1 thing you can taste. And now what I would like you to do before we leave the presentation, my section, is to do a little gratitude poem together. And so I would like you to write 1 line of something you saw, heard, touched, smelt, or tasted of gratitude in the chat. So. I just want to give everybody that wants to a chance to write in the chat something they're thankful for that they've noticed right here, right now. So I'm just going to read our little gratitude poem that we've created together in Choosing Love this evening. Thank you for my peachy pink orchids in bloom. Thank you for my family laughing upstairs. Thank you for my cup of tea. Thank you for light shining, happy voices. Thank you for my sweet hot cocoa. Thank you for my precious pictures of family. Thank you for the warmth in the house. Thank you for my split firewood sitting by the fireplace. Thank you for my glasses. I can see you all. Thank you for the music coming from my daughter's room and my sleeping dog all curled up cozy beside me. Thank you for my dreamcatcher painting by my daughter, the sound of the wind, the smell of Choose Love tea, the taste of onions. Thank you for my chocolate and friends. Connie, did you need something?
No? Did something happen?
You came back on video.
Yeah, oh, sorry, because it knocked me out. I'm grateful for being back.
And thank you for being back. And I want to add the last one. Thank you for my chocolate and friends. And Connie is thankful for being present here. So now I would like to introduce Rhonda. And thank you for your beautiful poem we created together. That was awesome. I'm excited to meet Rhonda. Rhonda has been a dancer, performer, choreographer, director, and mentor for many dancers over the years. Her passion for bringing the love of dance and living to her students has seen many go on to professional dance careers, and more importantly, to choose lives that are full of fun, laughter, and love. The motto at her dance studio is, "At Danceology, we strive to provide an excellent dance education in a safe and caring environment while promoting the development of positive self-esteem and a passion for dance. Rhonda first became involved in the Polar Express train story in 2015 when she was approached to create a choreography for a train trip to the North Pole from Stettler, Alberta, Canada. From that humble beginning, she has seen countless stories of magic, love, and believing. She truly is the Choose Love formula in a choreographed tale that gives back to generations of families each year. You can hear more about Rhonda's story on the podcast with Michelle Greenwell. She will share the true gifts of believing as we celebrate Choose Love Canada Day.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. I've just finished rehearsal at the high school, but I'm choreographing their high school musical. And so if you hear some background noise, I think we've got some volleyball happening in the background. But I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Last weekend was our opening weekend of Polar Express for the 2021 season. Sadly, we weren't able to share any joy with anyone last year. And already it's been an amazing run, even though it's only been 2 or 3 trips. This year we will perform for just over 11,000 passengers. It is an honor and a privilege to be with the passengers on each and every trip. It's an honor and privilege to watch my performers, my staff as it is, my friends, my colleagues, dig deep and give so much of themselves to our passengers on the train. It's a magical experience. I can't say much more about it.
I know that you can, Rhonda. You and I have had many conversations about this. Oh, hold on. Sorry, we moved the phone out, but then we had trouble with the internet getting everybody on tonight. Rhonda, one of the key pieces for me is the stories that you have had of the people getting on the train. Do you want to tell some of those key pieces? Because I think when you think of Choose Love and the way that the Choose Love movement is moving forward, you get to live that, watching the sparkle and the magic appear in people's eyes.
Absolutely. So about 4 years ago, my father passed away during Polar Express. It was a night that I was performing, and a little girl had basically vomited her hot chocolate on my pants as I served her hot chocolate. It was ugly sweater day, and we did the Polar Express, and I received notification that my dad wanted to pass. He had been ill. So off I headed to the hospital in my ugly sweater, my hair everywhere from being under my chef's hat, and hot chocolate vomit all the way down my pants. And my dad, being my dad, had a few choice words to say, "What the heck? What are you doing?" But I was privileged and honored again to spend his last moments on earth with him. The very next run, I had a family join me on my train, and there's a series of trains, but they were on my train. And their 16-year-old boy was going to go to hospice care the next day. And the family was not of means, you could tell, but they spent their last evening with their son riding the Polar Express. We held the train so that we could do family photos for them, and all of the train staff pooled our money together to give them a little bit of comfort through Christmas. Through that experience, I chatted a great number of times with the mom, and she said she'd always wanted to be a nurse. She'd always done this and that, but nursing was one of the things that she absolutely thought she would love to be able to do. And I kept saying, well, why don't you? Why don't you? A year later to the day, that same family ended up again on my train. And they walked in, I remembered them immediately. And the mother shared with me that she had just completed her first year of nursing school and that I had changed the course of their life through me saying that I believed that she could do this. Well, of course she could. She was an amazing mother. Of course she could. I was feeling melancholy that day because it had been a year since my father had passed, and it brought me completely full circle. And we left the train with joy once again. This past weekend, in fact, yesterday, we had a family supposed to be on our 4:30 run. A semi tractor trailer unit clipped the front of their van and wrote their van off. The grandparents drove from either end, picked up all the grandkids, and we put them onto the 6:30 run of the train, and again outfitted the entire family into a hotel overnight because Grandma is on her very last days with cancer, and she wanted one more moment to be with her grandchildren and her children. I watched time and time again people's frustrations, worries, anxiety. They come into the train. We begin with the hot chocolate dance, and we're interactive with them. And for an hour and a half, they don't worry about the rest of the world. They just have their hot chocolate, their cookie. They interact with our hobo. They get their golden ticket that says believe. Santa comes through and visits with everyone. We sing Christmas carols. And I watch time and time and time again our passengers and our staff have an hour and a half of joy together riding a train.
Sorry, you have grandparents too that get on the train in pajamas. You have the non-believers who sit very stoically waiting and then transform. You want to talk a little about that?
Yeah, we will have groups of grandma and grandpa, their children, their grandchildren, sometimes the great-grandchildren, all getting on the train in matching pajamas, as this is their kickoff to Christmas. It's absolutely magical. It's absolutely magical. My personal favorite is that 13-year-old child who's too cool for this Christmas thing. And when I have them singing Christmas carols, I'm dressed as a chef, and I have a Christmas spatula, and I use it like a microphone. And when that 13 or 14-year-old is singing Feliz Navidad into my spatula, I know I've done my job for the day.
Do you want to share a little bit about the dancers that have been en route, because they keep coming back? None of them want to retire from the train.
It is the truth. It is the truth. So I have university students that message me the end of October saying, "Hey, is Polar Express happening? I can do Polar Express. Can I zoom in and learn the choreography? Is there anything new? Here is my availability." There are 38 runs that we do throughout the season, some on weekdays, some on weekends. So it gives everyone an opportunity to participate. I counted them up, there are 10 of us who were the original staff on the train that are still working the train. And we now have 8 of former elves who have now gotten old enough to be able to work the train. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. We run with a staff of about 30 each run.
And when you're saying staff, those are dance students, they're children, but it's a paid gig for them. So it goes on their resume, and they're so excited because at the end they have a paycheck that comes off of their of their train run.
Yeah, what a I don't know how I lucked out to be able to get this gig, as it were. Most dance students are paying for classes, paying for costumes, paying for choreography and performance experiences. And through my association with the train, we're able to perform sometimes for free. That doesn't hurt, to go and give of our time and our energy for free. But this is a pretty sweet deal. Even our elves at the North Pole are presented with an honorarium for their time and effort. The teenagers end up making really decent money for them. Of course it's fun, but it's also really hard work. If it is minus 30 with a wind chill, we're still dancing, we're still performing, we're still welcoming people onto the train. It's a total team effort. We chat about our experiences in the break. We have about a 15-minute break between shows where we go get some water and get ourselves organized for the next run. There's always awesome things, but yeah, what a cool thing to put on your resume. The children who have done that and have gone on to university, I've had a number of them say that that was one of the tipping points between them and another student in their interview to get into university, and one of the more challenging fields, that their work experience in giving to others, working on the train as a professional dancer, was a tipping point for them to be able to get into that university of their choice. It's just so cool.
Rhonda, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it's one that tickles me. And do you want to just, are you #1 still with Warner?
We are. So we are licensed through Railway Excursions Limited and Warner Brothers. Every year they send someone out from Warner Brothers to all of the train runs. And I am tickled pink that in the little town of Stettler, Alberta, we are ranked #1 in the world for Polar Express.
Thank you so much, Rhonda, for sharing, and thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, it has been my pleasure. Love to everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know about everyone else, but I don't have a dry eye. I'm not sure Scarlett needs an introduction, but I do have a little bio here for her. Scarlett Lewis is the founder of the Jessie Lewis Choose Love movement and the mother of Jessie Lewis, whose life was tragically taken in 2012, though personally I always feel his presence. Scarlett has devoted her life to creating programming to support the emotional, social, and physical well-being of others through free programming at the Choose Love movement. Her new book, From Sandy Hook to the World, How the Choose Love Movement Transforms Lives, Stories from Around the Globe, was released just a few weeks ago, and I've ordered a copy because I found out my picture's in it. And share the success. That's not the only reason I ordered it, but it was one of them. And share the success stories of so many because of the movement. We are honored to have Scarlett with us tonight to help share her latest initiatives, including the bus tour of New Hampshire, a dream realized this month during the month of gratitude. So welcome, Scarlett.
Thank you so much, Tanya, and thank you for everyone here. I just feel so honored to be in your presence and to be included in the Choose Love Day Canada. This is an amazing event, and it's just absolutely amazing to me how powerful this message is and how far it's gone. have a little present. Oh, if you could enable screen sharing for me. That would be great, because I do have a presentation. Thank you. Okay. You know, I started this whole movement following, obviously, most people on here know the murder of my 6-year-old son. And I wanted to look at things a different way, because clearly what we had been doing wasn't working. What's that? Who said doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity? We had addressed so many issues. Bullying. I mean, I consider school shootings like the ultimate form of bullying, right? Well, I mean, almost every school does anti-bullying, and the programming is expensive, and it's actually supported by state and federal government funding, so taxpayers. Yet we see that increase and get worse. The war on drugs, where has that gotten us? Well, we have more drug deaths by overdoses than ever before in the history of mankind. In fact, they increased in the US 30% last year. And that's despite, again, taxpayer funded anti-drug curriculum. Mental illness. We have more mental illness now than ever before. Anxiety in the US starts at 6 years old, and we know 70% of those kids don't get professional help, so they suffer. And long-term outcomes of untreated anxiety are exactly what we're seeing, almost every kind of mental illness. And I just thought, what we're doing isn't working. And I had a choice after Jesse's murder. First of all, I had a 12-year-old son, and I had to figure out, how am I going to live the rest of my life? I didn't want to live the rest of my life as a victim, angry, allowing someone else, in fact, the young man who murdered my son, to control my thoughts that impact how I feel, that was going to impact my behavior and how I showed up for my son. I wanted to be a role model for him, because how I handled this tragedy was going to direct how JT was going to handle difficulty, roadblocks, challenges, even tragedy for the rest of his life. And I also wanted to live a good life. I wanted to feel joy again. I wanted to have fun, and I wanted to be happy. You have one life to live, and I wanted to enjoy it, even after my son was murdered. And it was so rough. I mean, in the first couple of days, I didn't know if I was going to survive. I remember desperately wanting to hear from somebody that had lost a child and find out how they survived. And then thinking about how I wanted to be part of the solution, because I knew that what happened to Jesse was preventable. Come on, let's be real. And of course, Jesse then left his message on our kitchen chalkboard, 3 words: nurturing, healing, love. Wow, phonetically spelled, because he was in 1st grade and just learning to write. I saw that message and I thought, if Adam Lanza, the former student, had been able to give and receive nurturing, healing, love, obviously the tragedy wouldn't have happened. Nobody wants to be a mass murderer. Nobody's born as a mass murderer. There's no mass murderer gene. He was born just like us. And then what happened was he had pain and pain. You know, he had a lot of pain, but a lot of people have a lot of pain. And it's not the pain. It's not the trauma that's the issue. It's how you respond to the pain and trauma. So I asked a doctoral professor that I met with, how do I get Jesse's message into schools? And he said, it's called social emotional learning. And so I decided I don't want to spend my life against things, which is how we're wired to think, right? But I want to spend my life for something, being for something, advocating for something. And what is the most important thing in the world that I could advocate for? And that's love. Love. This immutable thing that never changes. There's no opinion on it. It doesn't go away. It always has been. It always will be. And it connects us all as human beings. We're all the same in this world where we're so polarized, and actually we're wired to look for differences in each other for survival. I wanted everybody to focus on what we have in common. That is love. The want and need to love and be loved. We want to belong. We need to connect. And the other immutable thing, by the way, is pain. We all feel pain. We have kids. We don't want them to feel pain, but we know that they will. And we don't even know what kind of pain or how much or how long, but we know that they will feel pain. So we know that they need skills and tools, coping skills to help them manage that pain so that they can flourish. Because if you think about what you want, what I want, what we want for our kids, it's to flourish. And we know through science that there is a direct path to flourishing. There's a powerful formula that we have that comes directly from Jesse's message of nurturing, healing, love that can walk us through it. Courage, gratitude, forgiveness, and compassion in action. There's my slide. I made it for tonight. 2 immutables, love and pain. We know we're going to have both love and pain. We all want love. We want to give and receive love. Love is connection and belonging. We need this. Social scientists are now saying it's probably more important than food and water and shelter. We need that belonging. We know what happens to babies when they don't get it, unfortunately, because they did experiments in Russian orphanages. You die. We need love, but we're going to have pain too. So that's where I started. You know, the question is, why are we here? What are we doing here? What are we doing on this call? What are we doing on earth? Why are we here? We have one life to live. Why are we here? We each of us are unique. Just amazing group of people on this call. And we're all unique. We all have our unique gifts and talents that we all want to bring to the world. And I really believe that with the last 9 years of my journey, that the reason that we're here is to take what we've learned, learn lessons from love, from pain. Pain is literally a tremendous opportunity to learn. We're shaped and molded by painful experiences. If you think about it, that's what gets us our attention. That's what makes us change if we have to grow. We learn from, grow through. We're strengthened by difficulty. And so we're here to learn from both the good and the bad experiences, and then to take that wisdom, what we've learned, and use it to help other people. And this is what I've seen myself. People say, oh my gosh, you go around and you talk about your story every day. Isn't that so painful? How can you do that? You know what? I share my story, but more so I focus on what I've learned. And in doing that, I heal myself. This is another equation. I love formulas, obviously, but taking what we've learned, using that wisdom to help other people. Then it comes full circle and it helps us. So I just want to share the really almost the culmination. This is incredible. But the Choose Love bus tour. I've been talking about this as long as the movement has been around. And to prove that, Shannon, who is actually on this call, Shannon, I met in Newtown shortly after the tragedy. She also does MNRI, which is a form of really powerful form of therapy. And she volunteered to come to Sandy Hook, and I volunteered to, and my son and my mom, to get this kind of therapy. And out of all the therapies that I tried, this was one that I continued. And to this day, by the way, and lying on Shannon's therapy table, you wonder how things like this happen. You know, I would tell her while I was receiving therapy, this is my idea. This is what I want to do. I have to do it. This is my purpose in life. And I'm driven, and I'm grateful to be driven, but I know that this is why I'm here. Jesse gave me the platform, and all I have to do is show up, but I'm working on this. And she said, wow, it sounds great. It's such common sense. When you get it done, I want to bring it into my son's school. And she did. But also, while doing that, she noticed a tweet from a social media post from the governor of New Hampshire's wife. New Hampshire is where she lives. And she talked about choosing love over fear. And Shannon literally just responded to a social media post and said, wow, do I have somebody that you need to meet? We actually ended up meeting her, having a 3-hour breakfast, and then going to her husband's office. By the way, he's the governor of New Hampshire. And thankfully, he's an incredibly courageous leader who heard an idea that was going to benefit his constituents and said, let's do this. And so Shannon became the Choose Love program director for the state of New Hampshire, and she works out of the governor's office. And Shannon really made this Choose Love bus tour happen. Along with some other people on this call, it was a team effort as well. Alexis and Shreya and Pam made this dream that I had, this idea that wouldn't stop, that I talked about for as long as the movement's been around. I'm going to wrap a bus and I'm going to take the message on the road. And people were like, right, Scarlett, but there's a lot to do. And so, you know, that's good, but you will. Culminating in the fact that Shannon and I were driving after visiting a school. I actually saw this bus at a used parking car lot, you know, in New Hampshire. And I said, that's it. I said, turn around. She goes, turn around now, pull into a used car lot. I said, yes, that RV is perfect. I took pictures. I sent them to my board of directors. They never even responded. There's Scarlett, crazy Scarlett, talking about her Choose Love bus tour. We're not even, let's hope it goes away. And then here you go. You know, it's incredible to me. You have this vision. I had no idea how it was going to happen, with whom, who would help, when, but I knew it was going to happen. And thank goodness Jesse recruited the people that I needed to make it happen. They happened to be on this call. And so here it is. Here's this bus tour. And Shannon and I have been traveling throughout the state of New Hampshire and bringing love, hope, and healing to communities. And it's far exceeded my wildest expectations. And so I wanted to share it with you because it's really been amazing. What we do is we visit schools. We may pull up in a parking lot and set up the 4 stations of the formula in a parking lot. We've done it in stadiums. We've done it in music venues, in gyms, anywhere. We just come and we're bringing the message, and we create 4 stations. And we have the Courage Station, and we just want kids, little kids and big kids. If you've ever heard me speak, you know, I say that 100 times. This isn't just for kids. And everybody that has practiced the Choose Love formula, Michelle, you know, this is for little kids and it's for big kids. And teachers say, this is what we love about the Choose Love movement, because we benefit from it as well. So we set up a Courage Station. We want everyone to experience the power of this, to practice, because that's what social and emotional learning is. It isn't something you take off a shelf and put it back on. It is your life. You practice it from morning till night. So we have first responders that show up, that do courage poses with the kids to feel braver. Lenny is a retired police officer and correctional officer, and he's got the first ever Choose Love comfort dog from the Concord Police Department, and that is Liberty. So you see Lenny doing a brave pose. And then we have Jeff Ardini, who is actually a New Hampshire state trooper, who is also our commercial driver's license driver. He was our roadie. He dressed up as the duck sometimes. Just amazing men, by the way. There are amazing men. And so everybody got to experience a brave pose. And I even say, I do brave poses all the time. They help me feel brave. And then here are 3 from a stop in Littleton, way up in New Hampshire. And we actually had the chief of police come, we had the head of the fire department, and we had a detective. So we had 3 different uniforms and all these kids coming by. We gave them passports. You see the little passports in their hand. So each passport had a page per character value. And you see they have a little stamp. Actually, we lost the stamps at this stop, and the first responders were drawing hearts, which was just like, it was the most amazing thing. And you see these kids are really excited to show you their passports and to get their stamps. This is the gratitude table. They wrote gratitude notes, and you all know all the science behind writing a gratitude note. They were so excited. You see this one here. You can actually read it. Mom, I love you. Think about how great that mom is going to feel when she gets that. If you have Twitter, you can check out my tweet this morning. It was a little girl from this stop, actually, that wrote a gratitude note to her hamster. If you think that you can't think of anything to be grateful for, this little girl talks about why she's grateful for her hamster. She shows me the note. It's adorable. And then we had a forgiveness stop. This blew my mind. So this actually was a different stop, but most of the stops we had paper, and I invited whoever was manning, and I'll just give, for instance, we did a stop at a school that was just kindergarten and first grade. And so these little, you think, and I was told in the beginning, oh, you know what? Kids aren't going to understand forgiveness because it's a complex topic. Guess what? Let me just share this experience. I'm sitting there, I have all these little tiny kids. And I said, hey, has anybody ever hurt you? Has anybody ever hurt your feelings? Oh yeah, they all knew. Only on one hand, after 350 kids, maybe 5 said, I can't think of a time when my feelings have been hurt. And then I say, well, have you ever hurt anybody's feelings? And they go, no. So I say, all right, well, draw a picture, because they can't write yet. Draw a picture of the time when your feelings were hurt. So they're thinking, they think, and then they draw these elaborate drawings, and then they say, I'm done. And I say, what? And they want to show me their drawing. This is when my brother actually pushed me down to take my toy, and it really hurt me. It hurt my neck. And so I say, well, what are you going to do with that hurt and that pain? Forgiveness is when you let it go, you throw it away. So you're going to take that pain, you're going to crumple it up, and you're going to throw it into a garbage can. And they did. It was incredible. I know Shannon and Alexis are like, oh my God, she talks about this all the time. It blew me away. It blew me away how much pain, shame, blame, guilt these little ones are carrying around inside of them. And we're giving them an opportunity to release it. But what if they don't have that opportunity? What happens when a first grader carries that around inside? Wow. It was just incredible. One time I walked up and this little girl, I don't know what she wrote, but ripping it up. These little pieces were flying everywhere, ripping. I don't know what she wrote. I said, what are you going to do with that pain? She went over and she slam dunked it into the garbage. And then she's walking away like this. And I said, does that feel good? And she turned around. She said, better. I mean, wow. Like the stuff that I was seeing was heartbreaking. I literally wanted to get down on the floor and cry like a baby. But I had to remind myself, no, we're giving them an opportunity. We're showing them how to release that. Just phenomenal. And compassion in action, where they had these little wooden coins and they colored them and then they gave them away. So beautiful. I'm going to show you a little. Shannon made this short video. It's a minute, but I'd love to just give you an idea of this.
This is what life's all about. Yeah, breathing in and out. This is what it's all about. These are the moments we live once in a lifetime. Everything we want and more. This is the start of a new day, a good life. Ooh, these are the moments we live for. The moments we live for. These are the moments we live for.
Incredible. I'm tearing up. I've seen this 150 times. It's absolutely beautiful. And here's the other thing. Like, I believe everything happens for a reason and a purpose, and it serves us. I also believe timing is always perfect. I would have liked to do this 8 years ago, but now is the perfect time. Now is when people really need it. This is bringing love, hope, and healing. And some of these communities haven't gotten together. We've been told that. And so this is a perfect opportunity to do that and celebrate. Just so important. And this all comes full circle. I mean, forgiveness is the key to healthy relationships, and healthy relationships are the key to happiness. So this is really important. And, we've spoken a little bit about this tonight, but the power of our words, so important. I just love this little experiment by IKEA where, and it's a good reminder for all of us. They took corn plants, same size corn plants, put them on different ends of a middle school hallway, and then just instructed the kids, when you walk by these corn plants, bully one, send love to another. And look what happened a couple weeks later when they brought them together. I mean, the bullied plant is dying and the love plant is twice the size. Just a final reminder to be mindful of the thoughts that you put in your head and what you surround yourself with and what goes in to your head. Be so mindful of that, because that is going to direct your life. I just heard today, some trainer asked Mario Andretti. He's the most famous race car driver. He's probably the best race car driver on the planet. What's your secret to success? And he said, don't look at the wall. And the guy was like, what? Is that it? Don't look at the wall? And he's like, yeah, because where you look, you're going to go. Ask a tightrope walker. They don't look down. Where you look, you're going to go. What you put into your head is going to drive your focus. That's where you're going to go. So if you are anti fighting against something, turn it around. Before love. You know, I see a lot of signs in Newtown. They say, hate has no place here. And it's interesting because I know what they're getting at. I know where they're trying to go with it. What's the first word? Hate has no, it's a double negative. It's not going to work. Choose love. See, it's a different message. It's a different way of approaching. It addresses the cause of almost all of the suffering. And you cannot be talking about a solution unless you're addressing the cause. So here's the other thing. There's so much anxiety in our world today. We're being faced with novel experiences and there's fear that's swirling all around. Our brains are anxious for the first time ever. They have 24/7 information bombarding them way too much. We're anxious, we're overwhelmed, and it's really important to remember per science that the opposite of anxiety is action. And the action can be that you choose love. So that's important. And thank you so much for allowing me this time with you all.
Thank you, Scarlett. I'm a little overwhelmed by all the amazing things you're doing and not surprised.
We are doing.
Okay, we are doing. So if it's okay, I'll move on to Natasha. So to end our time together tonight, I'd like to introduce my friend Natasha, who I met when I first walked into one of Michelle's Tai Chi classes, and I guess we've been choosing the love of friendship ever since. Natasha has a Master's of Science in Complementary and Alternative Medicine. As a student that she's finishing up, she's a therapeutic touch practitioner, a Touch for Health synthesis level 4, Peter Hess singing bowl relaxation facilitator, and she has a diploma in business administration. Natasha has been training in complementary healing disciplines since 2004 with a focus on sound, vibration, and frequency. Working with her disciplines in combination with therapeutic touch brings a strong foundation for the concept of bioenergetic awareness, came to be a crucial part not only in her work, but also her teachings and in her personal life. Sharing these ideas and allowing others to experience the expanding awareness is her passion. The creation of the Raising Bioenergetic Awareness program and co-author of BioEnergetic Essentials is a way for Natasha to share the top tips and tools to create exponential personal growth and flow in your life. So I look forward to your meditation.
Thanks, Tanya. So I'm taking you on a journey today through the Choose Love formula, and I would like you to join me in this adventure, excited and open-minded like a child. Leave your adult brain at home and just become the child and be joyous and curious about what's happening. My instructions here in the meditations are only suggestions, and there's no right or wrong way. Just to say that upfront, having had trouble in meditations myself, I know how important it is to have choice and not to be focused on anything that's being preconceived or that people tell you. So this is where it becomes important to have the choice to make it your own. I would like you to close your eyes and focus on your breath. Breathe easily in and out. Just become aware. Imagine a little bubble of energy in the middle of your body. And begin breathing into it. Allow it to grow. When you're happy with its size, take a closer look at it. How does it feel? Is it soft, textured, smooth? Maybe squishy, hard, round, can be egg-shaped, could be warm or cold. Just notice what comes to mind. There might be even a taste, color, sound, or smell you become aware of. Now add courage to your bubble. This can be achieved in any form you want. It can be a note that you put into the bubble or a ribbon. Or you can add a color. It doesn't matter, it's up to you what you want to use as your tool. Open your awareness to the changes happening within the bubble and within you. Take note of anything that comes to mind and every change you can detect within you and the bubble. Next, add gratitude to your bubble. It could be in the form of a gift or again a note. Anything's possible. How does this addition change things? Again, detect with all your senses and take note of your emotional and physical state. Then we add forgiveness. Let it fill it up the brim. And again, open your awareness to changes happening. Did this addition influence you? Was there an emotional shift? Finally, we add compassion. Feel it flowing into the bubble. Where does it originate? Notice how that changes and what it changes. Did it only change the bubble? Or was there any change in you? With the choose formula completed, how do you feel now? How is your physical, mental, and emotional state? Reflect on what and where was the most significant shift. If you're happy with your bubble as it is now, you can anchor it within you, or you can make changes and then anchor it within you with the knowledge that you can call it up anytime when you need support or a little pick-me-up. And when you feel ready, take another deep breath. Slowly open your eyes and join me in this room.
Thank you, Natasha. I look forward to taking that Choose Love bubble during the day when I need a little bit of extra support in my day at work.
You're more than welcome. I would like to see everybody.
I think we have, do we have one last slide, Michelle? I think we're at the rejoice slide, aren't we? Let's see.
Yep.
Slideshow from current slide. Next. Whoops. So we'll just leave it here. I'd like to wish everyone a good evening. If you would like to make a donation to Choose Love, feel free at the chooselovemovement.org, or if you'd like to join CanBeWell.org and benefit from your membership to begin your journey with bioenergetic wellness training, the website's there as well. So I'd like to thank everyone for their participation this evening, and I don't know if you want to all go on video and wave goodnight.
Send out a big heart to everybody.
Hearts to everyone. So love to everyone. And
Thank you.
thanks for all we are
Thanks for
doing.
joining.
Night, night.